Hello, everybody. Welcome. Rosa Saki investigator. Hello, huh, everybody. Let's see here. I don't see anything. Oh, no, 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 no. Where are the comments? I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't know. Where is it? Okay, good. It's normal, okay, guys. I saw the offline. That's what it is. It's normal, okay. Until I'm on, it's gonna say, it's offline, okay. So, okay, I was gonna say, oh, let's see here. I don't know. One sec. Oh, I don't know. Still figuring out. Moving here. So much stuff around. Okay, one sec. Oh no, no, don't fall. Huh. Okay. So I like this background because I think it works. Makes it pop, pop. So I don't know. Just at least for a while, before I have to go back to go co-working space in a few weeks. Okay. Just sorry, trying here last position. So what's up, everybody? Oh, thank you, thank you. Okay, not because I made it. I was talking about I made it, but it's lively, it's happy. Okay, all right. So today is MLK Day today. So guys, how have you been? How have you been? I was watching Violetta, and I love how she makes, she makes little drawings now. I was like, maybe somehow I feel like I should do it sometimes, just answer one question. But the way I do it is goes into like the rabbit hole, you know, it goes into the rabbit hole. It's kind of crazy, you know what I'm saying? So, but it is what it is, it's how I am. And very interesting. Okay. So, okay. So here we are. Huh? And just to explain, guys, this situation, like I said, what does it say? It's offline because I'm figuring out, as you know, I love Zoom, so I prefer using Zoom than the regular YouTube. So, this is what it does. I can explain. It's too complicated, okay, to explain how it is. That it shows that thing. I don't know why, but it's just because basically what it does, guys, is that it kind of gives me this like ongoing channel. How do I say it? It's a little complicated to explain. Like I said, it's just that it has this. It always has like a thing ready to go. You just have to, to go in. Okay. So, oh my God, I updated a little bit before I started. I was like before, that's why it took me a little bit. I went to see Turtle. Turtle has information today. Turtle. I have info. He has news about impeachments. Yeah, yeah. So, oh my God, what a very cool, very cool. So, okay, guys. So let me go over. We'll just quickly go over before I go into start. Let's just go over quickly the question. So I thought today, of course, it doesn't mean doesn't mean that I'm going to do this exclusively, but I think since today is Martin Luther King Day, okay, I thought it would be really interesting to see how how to see how it. I don't know. I'm just curious, okay, to see from his perspective. Not that he's gonna talk to like who am I? Be like, who am I? But just generally the questions that we have, okay, about from his perspective. Because, guys, the fight here with the Trump administration and everybody associated with this far right is that the one thing they really hate is civil rights. That's the thing they really, and it makes so much sense, right? Because this entire situation is about erasing civil rights, and they have so much resentment from those days, okay, that the world as they knew and all those things, okay, it's gone. And they have to like go back to, they never accepted it, I think. But let's see what he says. I'm just curious, if you don't mind, okay, to see how what, and let me know what you think, because I feel like it makes me feel so much better, guys, when we can bring something kind of not say that he was like so positive, like, oh, just be happy. No, but it's more like thinking beyond with the present. Hello, Doreen, Doreen Arnold. I know Doreen Arnold. She has a song like, "Hi, everyone, Jess, Lisa, Kelly, Patricia Rodriguez, Karen, Golden, Rivers and McNulty. Everyone, guys, Zeffy and brings a transformation. Janet Moran, uh, Patrice, Cynthia Allen. Okay, yeah. So anyway, guys, so that situation. Okay, so now let's go here. Okay, let's go here. Okay, so that was so I have all these questions about Dr. King, and then the tartal. I'm just reading here. The day before the trial starts, the president's lawyers asserted he did nothing wrong. No, and urged the Senate to swiftly reject the charges against him. So, from what I read, the last news I read is that Turtle wants it to be for over 2 days. That's it. We'll talk about it 2 days by. They want to squeeze everything, so that the whole obviously the point for them is to not let the truth come out. Okay, so we'll see. We'll see about that, and then I'm just gonna go over some, the other developments. I think we really do have to focus on this impeachment situation, but also Putin. You see, like so Putin's gonna be in Israel this week. Pence is gonna be there. Yeah. And so I'm interested in this situation. Okay, so it's interesting. Oh, guys, I forgot. Okay, let me find this because it's important. So I don't know why. Sometimes I feel like, do I make you feel worse? Because I'm like, I guess into so many details, it's not even funny. So let me show you this image because it's important image. Okay, so Russian embassy just put out this image, and I was like, it looks like Trump to me, like a guy in a pool. I thought it was like, you know, it was like a message for him. So I need to. I didn't add it to the thing, but let me send you the link once I find it here. Okay, what is it? What is it? Mm, Oh, let's see here. Okay, so because doesn't it look like, guys, that this thing is really um oh, here, okay. It's an image of this man. Okay. Okay. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna click. Okay. I don't know if you can have the Twitter. I just put down there. There's another way. I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna update the post and add it there too. Just because like this is like an image. You just see it's somebody took a picture. So this is a man. For some reason it looks to me like, doesn't look like Trump in a pool, like one of those pools. Doesn't make sense. Or there's like a naked man in a pool, and like some something something about it to me was like, oh, I wonder if it's a sign for President that like they have the information. Like, what is this? This to me sounds very ominous. Okay, I don't know if you know how I think they definitely like have you know what I'm saying? Okay, let me just say sends Trump a message through an image. And the whole thing of like the like the supposed video is him, like, water is featured. I'm not gonna describe it, but you know what I mean. I'm just kind of like, because I make of it, too many detail. I go into details, so many details. So that's, I think, is part of it. Okay. Okay. Next. Okay. So let's hear. Okay. Okay. So then, oh, this is interesting. Very interesting. So did you see, guys, the story of the guy? So there was this guy who was it the head? He was basically, he took Fiona Hill's job. Basically, is that right? So he was like, he's a young guy. And I looked at his resume. His resume is very serious, I guess, for what he does. But he was escorted out of the White House, and it was unclear whether, as they always like, are you leaking or whatever, or what happened, right? But then there had been this rumor that somebody was like caught, and I think it was an article. Actually, it wasn't a rumor. It was an article in the Washington Post, I think, that talked about somebody in the Trump administration got caught in a honeypot sting operation. Honeypot is the woman who has, who goes to have sex with the guy, then gets information. She's like a female spy or some sort, or they call it a Russian hooker. But I'm like, I'm not sure it's just a hooker. You need to have more knowledge. So he goes, sleeps with some random woman who happens, I guess, The rumor, the article described like it was just like a honeypot. I'm not sure, it's Russian probably. So then the laptop and the cell phone's gone. So think about it. This is the person who has that job. He was specialist in Iran and Iraq, and then he took over the job for the whole Ukraine and Europe thing. Okay, so 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 the guy, he scored out because if you have that high level job, you're supposed to really like that you can lose your security clearance. Okay, so we don't know. We need to know what's going to happen. This is because at first you think, oh, they're getting arrested, like no, but no, don't get us too excited about it, okay? And then Nunes, as you had told me before, like there's more information about Nunes connection to Lev. And then there's also what else here? So Trump literally, he said, I think it was Friday, he's like, yeah, let's try to remove, the bribery situation. Let's make it legal for people to bribe me. Let's make it legal. Let's make it legal. Yeah, why not, right? So so can you imagine? So I don't think he's gonna fly this thing. I'll be surprised, okay, because like that is too blatant, especially for Trump. I mean, that's exactly the crimes that he likes to commit. So, and I'm like, oh, I found a little light here to see if it helps. Yeah, I think it does help a lot. So hi. So anyways, so yeah, this is good. So anyways, so like so yeah, let's just see here. What is that? How does it work again? But as you know, President himself was, he likes hooker. So anyways, so let's see what the situation is, okay? And then the gun rally, okay, and then they're protecting Kushner, the GOTJ is protecting. So it's like a lot of relatively not minor, but other things going on. But let's get started. Should we start? I think we should start with Dr. King. You know what I'm saying? Because that'll be nice. That'll be nice before we get, because we're still clean, but we'll get dirty with the trash peoples. Okay. So I'm gonna ask for protection. Huh? Beautiful red light, huh? Coming on top of my head, As I breathe in, I feel my lungs. As I breathe out, I project light. I project light outward. I create a circle of light. I create a circle. I step into it. I step into it. I feel protected. I step into it. I feel connected. I ask that information come only from the highest sources. That it create the good, and only the good, the good for the good people, good for the good people. Okay, so let's go here. Okay, so today is Martin Luther King's Day. Okay, so what is his message for us today? Okay, so I'm gonna read all the questions because it could come. Sometimes the answers come in one or several, but let's see. What is his message today? What does he have to say about this country? What does he have to say about the transition out of the Trump era? Once I saw him protecting Stacey Abrams and winning the Georgia election. Can he show me what happened and whether the treachery will succeed again in the future and how to prevent it? What does he have to say about our role in continuing his work? One of the core interests in Trumpism is erasing the memory of the civil rights era. When will America accept the truth about its history and make it right? What can we do to expedite it and keep his legacy alive? It's like a lot of questions. Well, let's start with questions, okay? Okay, okay. So first, let's see. It's interesting because when I asked the question, the simple question of what message does he have for us today? The answer is he says gather. He makes it like an image like this. Okay, gather in community, almost like. And guys, I don't know, have a lot of religious experience, but sort of like if you imagine, it's not a church because people are outside, but it's sort of like this message of communion, okay? Communion, community, coming together, and just gather with your community and feel and speak of the things you care about, and elevate each other. Okay, so gathering, connecting, um and gathering with real people, just gather, because it's saying the unity is what saves you. They want distraction, they want separation. So gathering with people, like-minded people. Okay, I know we're here on internet, but you know what I'm saying, like generally speaking, I don't think it's just the internet. I think is reality, like real life. When you feel like you're doing something, and I had sent out this newsletter today, guys. It was kind of like, I felt like after I sent it, I was like, oh, it's kind of like nonsensical. I don't know if it made any sense, but what I meant by that also is this idea of like, when you connect with others, you kind of like, the more together you are, the more you kind of repeat the things that you care about, the stronger it gets, and the more you reaffirm the things that matter. Okay, yeah, he's doing this, like, forget about the bad stuff that is being done. Obviously, you can't forget about it, but you have to affirm the things you want. Not because you're seeing. Remember when we were marching, it wasn't like, of course, it was stop the oppression, but we had clarity about what we wanted. Okay, so this is interesting. Okay, this is powerful. Okay, so he's saying, like, he's almost like, he was a preacher, so it makes sense that he would look. It's like from the perspective of a person who's looking down on like groups of dozens of people. So gatherings and community, communion. Okay, general. Okay. So what does he have to say about this country? I didn't add right now, but that's the question. What does he have to say about this country right now? It's like right now there's a veil. There is a veil that is about to be, there's being lifted, but there's a lot of, there's a lot of smoke. They don't want you to see the truth. They don't want to see the reality, because you all know what the reality is. But their job is to tell us that our eyes don't see and our ears don't hear. But if you, even if you were to not have ears, even if your eyes couldn't see, you have to listen to the voice inside of yourself, the voice of consciousness that tells you what is right, what is the right thing to do, what is the meaning of justice, and what is the meaning of right. And when the facts are not presented, you have to ask for the inner voice to tell you what is right. So it's saying, like, in that civil rights era, it's not as if you could count on newspapers to report the things that were being done to us. There were no facts about our lives then. He's saying, look how good ones. There were no facts. Those facts about how we lived, they were not. There's a reason why they're not in the history books, because they were not allowed to be in the history books. So we had to speak for ourselves, because nobody else would. And not only that, we would be silenced otherwise. So he's sort of saying, even though, we live in an era of facts, facts alone only belong to to the person who's setting the agenda, essentially, right? It's like, not, although we there's a lot of facts, but it's more than the facts, is about the narrative, essentially. And the narrative spoken with the voice and the story that is told. So you know what I'm saying? So it's interesting, because we think, okay, it's just about truth. And no, it's like, no, speaking the truth of your experience, and the truth that we see and that we feel in our experience. Okay, because saying fighting for facts, it's not that powerful. Like having a kind of factual database discussion is not that. It's like fighting through stories and fighting through your history, right? So for example, when people say Democrats need to get stronger in their messaging, they should say 55% of Americans feel better. No, they shouldn't say. They should say, when I am walking down the street and I see, it has to be very emotional. Emotional, not like fake, in a fake way. It has to come from experience. And when history comes from experience, that's when it resonates. It's like, wow, he's saying something. When history comes from experience, it resonates. And oh my God, and I'm getting so many goosebumps, guys. It resonates, and it's sort of like he's showing that the voice, when you speak of your experience, the voice becomes like an earthquake. It could shake buildings. Oh my God, guys, oh my God. It could shake. History shakes when when it comes from the lived experience. You know what I mean? So they could present all kinds of facts, okay, but facts are meaningless if they don't come from experience, okay? It's like the way to fight is to never stop telling your story, and even this is why he's saying like and even in your small community there may be somebody who's alone, there may be somebody who needs to be heard, because we are human at the moments that our experiences are validated and we feel that we are heard. And it doesn't matter that we don't have a TV channel, it doesn't matter that we don't have, it's just that your experience has to be validated, okay? So this is in the wow, very intense. It's very nice. Wow, I like it. Wow, this is very. I didn't. I had no expectations. Okay. Oh, don't. Oh, where is it? I don't know. So I had no expectations. Not that I was like, oh, it's gonna be like this or like that, but it's just this is nice, very profound. Okay. So okay, now okay, wow. So this is it. It's like here the stories of people, and trust that these stories matter because you've been told over and over again that your voice is pathetic, meaningless, you're angry, you're a waste of time, your experience doesn't matter, who cares, it's a shallow, it's this, your whole lives you hear this, and that's not true at all. The only difference between your experience and the experience of the people who have a lot of power is that the people who have a lot of power turn experience into history. Oh my God. Guys, it's like I have to like, oh my God, transcribe this because it's so very intense, so very nice. But it makes a lot of sense, right? Because that's, you know how sometimes I talk about the Koch brothers, how they have so much money and they're crazy people that they think that their like hatred and their ideas belong, and it's like that's what truth is, right? And so, and those are the same people who are constantly like get paying people to write articles that say, oh, college campuses are out of control. College campuses are out of control. College campuses, I mean, hello. Why? Because it's very important for them to tell people that our voices don't matter and that our experiences don't matter. So this is why it's like it may seem like living in an era where like no, it's all about facts. But look at television, look at the news, look at the New York Times, look at all of them. Do you really think that they put facts in front? No, they don't. They consider, this is like they practice the type of history that I'm telling you about. They think of themselves as a spokesperson for for the victor, for the person who's out there on top. So they don't want the perspective from the person on top cannot make them look that bad because they are on top. And all what they do is to affirm that the experience on top matters because the person has a hierarchical importance. Okay. So he's also saying like it would not matter if the person, it was not about that necessarily. If the person had leadership, it it resonates. This is why he's saying, and then he shows me Obama, and Obama is like the same, like I was giving you this image of the voice, like a hurricane, like has this power, like almost like a vibrational power that echoes and that creates change, right? That has that is good. But when you have the low vibration of the false prophet, okay, let's not name that person's name, then you sink the whole country. And he's saying sinking spiritually, going to the lowest. When leadership is about the low, it sinks. People go to the lowest. And when the media and like the voices of quote unquote truth speak only of the victor's perspective, it lowers the entire country. Wow, guys, that's so. This is like, well, I need to break because can you believe it? I was like, I need to think about it just 1 second to process. I was like, wow, it's amazing. It's like so well said. Wow, I don't know what to say. Like it's so intense. It's perfect. Exactly this, right? That like, exactly one. But saying, but okay, but what is what could they? It's like, well, they refuse to take the higher road. They go down with the rats because they elevate to the rat. They elevate the rats to the highest office, and he's giving me this very sick image. He's like, I'm sorry, Rosie. That's what I have to show you. But it's almost like, imagine if the rat is in the church and the rat is the priest. And that's what we're living through now. We have a rat who's so advanced that he pretends to be the priest. And you know what I mean? But there's like, no, rats can be, maybe they're nice animals, but as you know, it's sort of like the lowest of the low now wears the robes of, you know, of he's saying that he's in some ways he's saying that T-Ron is a preacher, right? He's saying I'm not saying that I'm like this is not about religion necessarily, but the way that he's explaining it to me is that it is about religion in the sense that it's the highest voice. Okay, so the voice, whether the person exercises the leadership or not, it's still it's like a note. The note that the person speaks through is the note of what happened. You know what I mean? So it makes a lot of sense. Hello, John. So talking about Dr. King is very interesting, very, very interesting. So this is why, okay, and he's saying this, okay, so next, okay, one sec. Okay, so how are we gonna go? Okay, how are we gonna transition out of this and achieve the unity that is necessary for the country to heal? Okay, because it's not enough that Trump leaves, just him. We have the Fox News, we have all these like these bad people, basically bad actors trying to continue the hate speech. Okay, try to influence the speech. Okay, so what? How are we gonna find this unity? Start with community. That's number one. Don't even think of it as politics. Think of it as community. This is not to say that you're going to be like, oh, hi, you're a Trump voter. You know, you wanted to like, you think it's okay to put children in cages. That's not, and let's me embrace you. That's not what it is. What it's saying is that when you reach out to one another and you help one another, even if it's one person in your community that you connect with, then you're doing something right. It's like it's, and he's talking about this text that I sent out in his newsletter earlier from this other person talking about how the arch of justice, that it bends, that the arch of the arch of guys, I'm sorry, I misquoted. Okay, but basically that you have to help it bend towards justice. It's not something that's going to happen on its own, and that it said in the end is like the tiny trillion gestures that people make together, it adds up to something very big, because he's saying that we tend to think that only a hero could change things, but no, it's the small gestures. And he's saying that when you connect with a person in your community, even if it seems small, it's the way forward, because you are it makes a lot of sense actually that you are actually like causing for community. You know what I mean? You don't have to wait for a huge thing. You don't have to do something. You're just connecting, and that connection is the opposite of division. So when we have a spirit of connection, we have the background for healing, for that kind of healing. Okay, and saying and accept radical acceptance of experiences, right? Because it's saying that he's also saying that in history, even the things that we are learning now, never in history they were discussed, like abuse, incest, child trafficking, all those horrible things. It was hidden. It was always hidden. Nobody wants to hear. And look at America today. They never want to hear about slavery. They want us to be silent. They want us to be quiet. But that was our experience. And that, even if that we need to speak our experience, and that is where we come from. It doesn't define us, but that's what this is about. Life is about, it's right. So it's about acknowledging the experience of others, right? And 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 validating it. Okay. And so, and as we do that for one another, we validate the experience of the other, then that's what society is about. Okay, and he's saying even the kids, the kids that take up the guns, he's not talking about the rally actually, but talk about the kids that they go shoot others in schools. If schools had, if the connect allowed for this sort of experiential sharing, then it would, you know what I mean? The thing is, the lack of community is something broader. He's saying is not just, is not just the political sphere, is on a day to day, connect with one another and support one another, because it's saying these social media platforms, they're like a whisper. They're like a devil, the devil's whisper, he's calling. Oh my god, guys, I have to turn because it's like so much. It's so interesting. That is like the devil's whisper. It's sort of like saying like all the going against the worst interests and making people believe that things are way, uncontrollably worse and uncontrollably like, oh, don't trust anybody, don't do this. So it prevents. And he's saying, he's like, Rose, I know you also spend time on Twitter too much. You get angry, don't do that. Not good for you. No. So I'm saying you have a, help people heal. You already help people heal, but it's good to not, don't waste your time on this. You could be helping people heal. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for truth. Truth. So, so, so very interesting. Okay, guys, do you mind? Okay, is it okay? Because I'm gonna keep going. Okay, because I know there's gonna be time. We're gonna have time to cover everything. If I have to go over, I'll go over. But okay, because I think this is very important if you don't mind. Okay, okay, because I find it very very good. Okay, okay. So okay, so what is okay? So okay, this is a transition. So what happens to these people once Trump is gone? Because he's gonna be gone. Even if you were, I still think he's gonna leave. But if it's not, it doesn't leave normal ways. He's gonna have to leave when the election comes. Okay, so what's gonna happen? Which, like, for example, the Bays or whatever, those people, when they lose that connection. Okay, they have to look within their hearts, and they have to see, you can ask them, well, you claim to be a person of faith, so what would Jesus do? What would Jesus do? Like, that's simple. Just say to them, you said you're Christian, so what would Jesus do in this situation? Would he be like, oh, finger wagging and justifying? You just have to look for the voice. Just tell them to look inside themselves if you come into contact, and saying, so if they like, but he's right, he's like, because he creates hysteria in people. And then just say, okay, so I'm going to give you time to look, close your eyes and ask within yourself, is that what Jesus would have wanted? Is that what Gandhi would have wanted? Is that what an illuminated person would have wanted? And and God, God will forgive you, and but you have to look for the answer yourself. They're saying guys, this is very, oh my God, this is so I have no words, because this is truly helpful. Because if we, how it is, if you tell one of these people, are you crazy, what the hell is wrong with you? Because that's how, like, I get, get angry with stuff like that. Like, no, don't do that. Just tell them to close their eyes and ask themselves, what would God do? Would God really just ask the how just be like, but you don't know, Obama's like this. Is that, and then keep saying, is that what God would have done? Is that what Jesus would have done? What if Jesus is one of those children in a cage? Would that be okay? And just don't assert anything. Just ask questions, because you see, one of the techniques of this propaganda they do is to assert things as if they are true, and that way they cut the critical thinking. They cut the heart. So one of the, as you'll know, Rose, because I thought about study this a little bit of philosophy in that way, that doubt is the essence of humanity, right? If you're human, you have doubts. That is, you can't not have doubts. And they roboticize people by affirming things like, this is how, this is, Obama is bad, this is good, this is like, it kind of like limits the ability of people to ask questions. And this is how, when you have a deeper, when you're a deeper person, you ask yourself a lot of questions, and you should. So let them ask themselves a question, and let them hear in their own words the words of God, so that the God words of God, as heard through their own ears, will heal them. You can be sure that it will happen. They will say, "Oh my God, guys, today is crazy." So, so this is oh my God, this is very intense, very good. Okay, so okay, so wow, okay, wow, okay. I once saw him protecting Stacey Abrams in winning the Georgia election. Can he show me what happened, and whether the treachery that I didn't add here, but that I saw, that I'm sorry, that I saw happening, that, because I asked if she was going to win, he showed me that she would win, but what I didn't necessarily see was that there'll be treachery thereafter. But the treachery is so real, and voter suppression is so strong. How can we make sure this is not going to happen? Are we going to be able to stop it, and how? Okay, and for the 2020, how can we prevent it from happening? Okay, because this is what you're fighting for, Dr. King. Okay, he's like this. He's like, this is the history of, like, this is the history of America. This is what America has been about. Truth. Like, oh my God, America has been about the history of some people, not the history of all people. I'm like, oh my God, guys, it's crazy today. Wow. So the history of some people, not the history of all people. So part of it is silencing the rest of the people that are not They don't want to, they want history to be like almost like half the story. Okay. They don't want, and this is like they keep saying, but you guys are always talking about slavery. You're always talking about the past and the pain of the past and all that. Well, and he's saying we would not be talking about it if our history were in the history books too. And that is the fight, Garo. Garo, no, it's not exactly, but that is the fight that we still have to fight. Is that our history is also in the history books? If history exists, it is about everyone's history, not the history of some. Okay. So, in other words, it's like you say, because America, the myth of America has been only about the good side of things. Yes, we have this thing, we have wealth, we have this, we have this could happen, but only this is only can happen this way. You could only, you cannot veer away from it. If you really a fear, okay, if you go a little bit different, if you go see it a little bit differently, they don't want to hear because it's monolithical the way they see history. Okay, but as you are seeing now, as Shakespeare once said, there's something rotten in this, that there's something rotten in this rain. Okay, right? So there's the beauty. It's like, oh my god, oh my god. So it's saying here, the beauty is like, for example, if you buy a garment, if you turn it upside, if you look at it open, it's ugly. It could be ugly. Okay. And a lot of people make even like when the high end costumes, the high end clothes have very beautiful insides. But you see the price of that, right? In the sense that it costs a lot of money to make the insides beautiful, but America didn't have the luxury. So our insides are ugly. Okay. So it's just a matter of people understanding that they have to look at history, and they can't look away, and that it will end. Our talking about it, and our kind of, he's describing it as preaching. Our preaching has to do is going to continue until this is in the history books, right? So until it's completely normal, that nobody needs to even think about it anymore. Okay. So this is it. So this is like, it's not saying, so how is it, because of this issue of America's self-perception, but the reality, the darkness underneath, how is this going to change? It was like America has to change when they accept what it is, because they see he's using those words, guys. It's almost quite biblical, even though I don't know. Beelzebub. In Portuguese, you can use the Beelzebub is like another word for Lucifer. Him. We know him, Tiran, right? So Beelzebub comes and shows he himself embody. Oh my guys, oh my god, guys. Wow, so brilliant. Like, I don't say. He's saying Beelzebub himself embodies the dark belly of the beast that has been dark, and like that has been hidden all along. So when he comes to the light, thinking that he's safe now, that he can take over the light of Jesus or the light of God or whatever, then he exposes it. You know how we always talk about, guys, how Trump is finally exposing the stuff that was been hidden all along. He's saying it's true. Wow, it makes so much sense. It's exactly that. He's like, when you see that in some ways he's embodying everything that was hidden and that we never talked about it, by embodying it and bringing it, almost a making us believe that it's totally okay to be this darkness no longer has to. Oh my God. Wow, guys, this is amazing. I was gonna say, you see, when you bring the dark belly of the beast to the light, that is when it falls apart, because by definition, the dark does not have the same powers as the light, and it melts away. So, on the one hand, we are horrified that this is happening. We are horrified that we are seeing these things happen. But it is in the act of making it happen in the public eye that what is the word, purify it out of the reality. Okay. So how do I say it? Guys, this is amazing. I'm like, okay, so does it make sense? It makes a lot of sense to me, actually, how I see this, how from my perspective here. That is so true. Okay. That that if you had to tell people, let's go back to history and look at the dark stuff, they wouldn't, because This history is still told by all of those people, okay, the dark ones. But if they bring it, they become, it's almost like Greek myths have this too. It's like the idea that they think they're so much bigger than the gods, that they are going to act like gods, but when they act like gods they fall apart because they lack the foundation. They lack the foundation because the darkness never wins in the light. The because the devil always wants to think that, oh, let me fool everybody. The devil's game is always that, let me fool everybody, let them think that I have the power, let them. So then when you bring the darkness to the light, you make some humans act more in the dark way, more in accordance to the dark, but at the same time, you when you expose it, you kind of heal. I mean, it's not that I'm saying like, oh, Trump is aliens. No, but what I'm saying is that all this horror that we're observing, we had to observe in a way or another. And there would come a time in humanity that we had to look at things. We had to become witnesses, and we were not witnesses to a lot of things. And so when we become witnesses, we then free. Like it's almost like there's something in the light. And by light, I don't even mean like us like projecting the light. It means like just becoming public, that it frees. Like, and this is like, notice how their main goal out of all of the goals is to keep things hidden. Why? It's not because they're crazy, they're OCD, or they're like, you know, hidden hoarders or something. No, it's because they know that they can maintain something as long as it's secret. The moment it is exposed, it loses power. But when you think of like, it's saying, I'm not saying that, it's not that I'm like Obama is the greatest person, but he's like, look at when Obama speaks, when people have charisma and they have the light within them, they speak, they illuminate everybody else. And you feel like you feel empowered. You feel like, wow, there's something in you grows. And that is the power of people that have light in them. They bring the light to every. This is how can you define, how do you know, okay, this is very interesting, how do you know a person has light in them, like in the sense of like, not like, oh, because there's this whole thing, oh, are you spiritual, oh, you're like have more light. No, it's not a competition. It's saying the way you can tell if a person is legit is if they bring the light to others. And if in their presence they make the other, it's not like make a person feel good, where sometimes it's sort of like people take up your attention too much, or like they complain and make them not make them feel better in that kind of emotional labor type way. But he's saying that as when you hear them as a stranger, you like, wow, like you're like, wow, that something changes in you. Okay, so that is when the light resonates, when you could tell that. Why is T Ron a bad person? How do you know that he's a bad person? It's because he brings the worst in people. Is that he wants the lowest. He rises, he makes the lowest. And he's like not saying that those people who are trying to commit violence down in Richmond are like always 100% horrible people. Is that they chose to look at the dark side. They chose to act from fear. So, wow, wow, I don't know what to say, guys. This is very profound to say. Okay, okay. So, oh my God, I didn't forget. So, what about Stacey Abrams? She'll be fine, Rosa. She'll be fine. And what about those like voter suppression? Because now, and let's get to the actual point of the voter suppression. How can we stop it? It's like they're looking at the machines. He's showing me people looking at the computers. The data like that happened over there, the stealing of the votes. They're like going through all the computers. They have the information, and they're gonna show him there. He says there's gonna be a trial, Rosie. Those people are gonna have to be, like I'm telling you, they have to be brought to light. It's interesting. He's saying it's not even like, you don't even have to say bring them to justice, bring them to light, so that everything may come to the surface, so that we can judge for ourselves the truth. But they work so hard to keep it hidden. Okay, but those networks are powerful, and they have been so powerful they have clearly changed the votes. In a way, whether it's because of the insane amount of voter suppression or changing the votes, whatever that is, and like removing people from voter rolls. How are we going to overcome this in the short time that we have until the 2020 election? Remember to go in, like everybody here, everybody in the group, everybody everywhere should look inside. To first is knowing what is right, what is wrong, and then demanding it. Because they're going to say, we don't have evidence, there's no evidence. And then it's like, well, we know. It's like whenever you don't refute the argument for evidence that way. You just say we want the what is right. We want the right to vote. We want to make sure our vote is accounted. It's like you saying it's kind of like a mind game. And when they see, because I see the guy, he's so scared. The guy Gary Kemp, like Brian Kemp, he's like, "Oh, the people are coming. They're coming." He's so scared. He tries to run away, and I do think he's going to be arrested. But the important thing is for people to not cower and to just ask, "I This is my right, and I wanted to be able to do that." So never cower, never give up. Just ask for your rights. These are my rights, and I'm entitled to this. So never. This is the thing. They want is like they're always like, oh, I'm just hope they give up on this. And no, you don't give up, and you speak out your rights. You have rights, okay? So this is interesting, very nice, okay? So okay, now guys, okay, I'm gonna go over, okay? So if for the other political stuff, but okay, so what does he have to say about our role in continuing his work? Building community. That's the number one thing. And just think of yourself just as you are, a person who is alone. Let's say, I know a lot of people have this complaint. What if you were helping yourself? What would you do? Imagine, put yourself in a position of somebody who's observing you. What do you need? Okay, see yourself in the third person and ask, what do you need? And it's important, like as the article you sent out today, and as we have been saying, that you don't wait for a hero. There's no hero. You're the hero. You have to make it happen. You have to take this small step, and the smallest step is connection. Okay, so either whether it means bringing food to somebody, or hearing someone out, or just stating alone, I believe in this, I believe in, everybody can vote. And it's like the minimum is like stating this, the world that you want to see, and then building it in the smallest step, which is communal. Okay, so so he's saying because society nowadays is very separate, and the social media people exploit it, and they exploit division, and they make more, guys, it's true. He's like, they make more money when people are fighting. So they don't want you to be happy. They want you to be afraid because that makes them rich. Your fear makes them rich. Wow. Wow. This is oh my god, it's insane. Wow. So okay. Wow. Wow. So wow, this is amazing. I don't know what to say. Okay. So that he's like, the elections are gonna get much better. They're much better. Don't worry about it. It's like, don't, no, worry about it. But okay. So one of the core interests of Trumpism is erasing the memory of the civil rights era. For example, Trump pretends like today doesn't matter. Okay. When will America accept the truth about its history and make it right? What can we do to expedite it and keep Dr. King's legacy alive? So it's like, first of all, I'm already on the other side, but you can only keep me alive if you speak up for the values that we speak of. Okay, so if this was dated, if our fight had been something dated, if our fight didn't matter, it would be forgotten. The reason why it's not forgotten is because it's necessary. It's true. If we had won something, if we had won, for if for example, I'm trying to think here, for example, one of the things that is child labor, for example. That's something that nobody talks about anymore, right? Because it's not like how in the Victorian era children worked in factories, right? That is that is like, it's already, we have developed enough to do, at least in most countries of the world, to not have children work if possible. Okay, that is not something you can, or even though some people in the demonstration actually are trying to, but you can't do that, right? So that is the reason why you don't have to, like, oh, let's stop child labor. At least it's not a huge mainstream issue because pretty much has been won. Okay, now it's like a child traffic. There's other issues. Okay, but it's saying, when you look at the history books, you see all these images of children working in the mines and working in these jobs, okay, in the factories. The same thing has to happen, is like with all the other things that we want to change. So the way you do it is not that you have to have a camera, but you have to talk about it, constantly talk about it, how they live and how they want, this is the right, they have the right, you have the right, you have the right. Just say, you have the right, have the right, have the right. Rights, rights, rights. This is why they make it so, they were very careful with their wording. They call it your rights entitlements. They're very clever. The devil likes to fool. It's like, look, think that if you think that God is the ultimate legal mind, so to speak, right? You have to think, if all men are created equal, what does it really mean? It's not to say that it's communism. It's not like that. It's not like a dictatorship where everybody should, but there is some things that should be basic and everybody should have. And when they remove those things so that they can put it in their own pockets, and they knowingly do that to fool people and to exploit them, you know that that's not their, they don't have the right to do that. That's not right. And this has been a fight for, for decades and for centuries, that some people feel like, I'm going to tell other people what to do. Oh yeah. So it's just this is how you fight. You say, I have the right to X. I have the right to, and it's like, even the Tarto, as a citizen, I have the right to, right? So you say, these are my rights. And then that's how you assert your, you don't have to say, I say, as a citizen, or it is my right to, right? So this is it. And this is what they know exactly what it is, because they're the think tanks and the shady groups of them. They always do to try to do that. How can we take stuff away from them? They don't deserve it. They don't deserve it. I have the rights. They don't. So, right. So, oh, yeah. So Dan say, by keeping wages low, families need everyone working to bring the new child labor low wages. They can say employment is up, but it's like nobody has benefits, right? And one of the things, guys, I think, for example, is very basic. You know how all these companies like Walmart, they have tax breaks, but the state should not give anybody tax breaks if they don't give people benefits. That is basic. But so in other words, in this era, we live in an era where the state is conniving with, is helping those people remove the rights of basic rights of citizens, right? So instead, I would not have a problem if, like, think about it, if those companies, they get benefits, they get benefits from the government, right? What are they getting? They're getting what, essentially welfare. But but if the jobs they gave the, well, but no, they take everything, and that's not right. That's wrong. Okay, that's just wrong, because they don't really like, what is the benefit that they give to the community? I'm not sure what it is. And that's the thing. In the new era, we're going to rethink community very radically. Okay, so when will America accept the truth about its history and make it right? It's about you knowing your rights. That's number one. That's it. You, first of all, know what your rights are, and you're not afraid to ask. So that's my legacy, is that everybody should know what your rights are, and you should fight for them. And if they are not law yet, you need to make sure, if something feels like it was wrong and it was something really unfair, because for them, then done is, and then they fire employees near retirement so they don't have to pay. So this is another, this is a case of like, is this illegal? I'm not sure it's legal or illegal. That's not the issue. The issue is that if it is not the right thing, it should not be. There should be some sort of law. You can create laws, you can push for laws, you can, but it's like, it's all about understanding the concept of rights. What are rights, and how can I make sure they're exercised? And if they're not rights, yeah, then how could I make them into law? So become like an advocate for yourself, for others, and learn how the law works and how legislation works. So, oh my god, guys, this is crazy. I feel like I'm just like talking. So that's it. Okay. So that's it. Oh my god. So that's it for this part. Okay. So this is like 50 minutes pretty much of like straight 40 minutes or something. I don't know. Okay. So I'm gonna go now to the questions. Guys, I can't even take a breather. Okay, this is intense. No, I need to listen to it again, because it's like, I'm sure it was just like me vomiting words. Okay. So it was very nice. Okay. So last question, then we can really move on to the politics. Okay. So where is America gonna be next year, 2020? Huh? Huh? Dr. King. You'll be celebrating, kinder to each other. You'll be celebrating. Oh, can't believe this is a new era. Everybody's so happy and thankful that even though, whatever hardship may come, whatever, shakeups in the economy, whatever it may happen, you're not so worried, because you care about one another, and you're seeing finally some measure of justice. Okay. So I feel like, so is Trump gonna no, is he gonna win the next election? No, he's not even. He's gonna be in the hospital or some sort, like, mental hospital. Okay. Okay. So go. It's like, go ask your other questions. He's like, okay. Okay. So now, guys, oh my god, many questions. Okay, so I have to jump now to other